The meta thing between Aoharu and Mant is going to be very different because there's going to be new skills we can use. More, we have spot, struggle, dueling, runaway. Well, actually, we get runaway now. Um, there's a lot of things to go over on this balance update. A lot of the skills got fixed. A lot of things to go over that I have not been prepped for. But we'll go through this little by little. Yeah. It's not. It's at the 11th, so this isn't gonna happen for CM4. None of these is gonna matter for the next CM, or sorry, for this CM. But for CM5, no stopping me is available. Did On Your Left get fixed here? Or actually, wait, was On Your Left not fixed at the first Annie? Okay, On Your Left is not in. Oh wow, early lead got. Oh my gosh. Sorry, yeah, looks like they didn't buff On Your Left in this patch notes. But let's start at the top. Let's start at the top. So once again, this is gonna happen on November 11th. So Aoharu releases on the 6th, and then 5 days later we will get this balance adjustment. This is where we have that 6-hour maintenance, I believe. So let's just go from top to bottom. Increase money and supports. More rewards for that. This is going to overlap with the double rewards that we already have in game, so hopefully that helps you if you're a little poor in money and support points. When it says increase parameters gained from career end events, that's just like the final race, like the +5s at the end. That's going to be adjusted. Increase the number of recreation events for rare friend type supporter cards. So, Rare Rico only has 4 events. They don't have that last event where usually you get that gold skill. So like for Tazuna, it's concentration. For Rico, it's rushing gale. You still won't get that gold skill, but now you will have access to that 5th event, which is a mood up from Rico. So you'll have another date event that you can go with Rico. So now you can have 5 mood effects in the rare version. Increase the rate at which friends type supporter card events occur when they're in your deck. This just means that I think there's just an increased rate of the events that you can get from the friend types. Adjusted choice options for career end events when friends type supporter cards are in your deck. But it's just all of this adds up to a buff to the friend type supporter card. Adjusted the probability of training fixture when max energy is increased. So this just means that now it's a percentage based on your maximum energy rather than... Because originally it was based on the exact 50%. So if you had like 112 energy, you would need 56 energy to not fail. But now it finally works where no matter what, as long as you're above like 50 energy, you shouldn't fail the training. So this helps a lot of like these minor bonuses, like the +4 that you get from some supporter cards. Now the probability is based on, like, the probability is better for you. So they're fixing the max energy, so like it's actually useful. I mean, it was already kind of useful, but now like you won't be at a loss for increasing your maximum energy. Friend type cards can now occur if they're not in your deck. So now you can get like the random events from the friend cards, which usually are good. Like I know Tazuna has a mood up, I believe, and things like that. Adjusted careers to mitigate bad effects. When it says increase the probability to recover more energy when resting while afflicted with Night Owl, this just increases the chance of this +70. And when you get +70 on a Night Owl, you have a chance of clearing Night Owl. So now you can think about hitting the rest button when you have Night Owl to gamble for +70 and clearing the Night Owl. Decrease the probability of being afflicted with bad conditions from some trainer events. This is like different based on trainees, so it's a little hard to go over. Remove mood decreases when being afflicted with a bad condition from some events. This is just the guaranteed mood down, I believe, from Night Owl and something else. I think it's probably just like the mood down from the Night Owl besides the one that you get right away. So that's, big effect to actually resting. Mood decreases when unable to train as a result of Slacker now occur randomly. So usually when you used to have Slacker and you failed and you slacked off, it was a guaranteed mood down. Now there's a percentage. I don't remember the percentage. Rest and recreation during summer camp now cures bad conditions. So now at least when you rest before summer camp to top off your energy and you get hit with that Night Owl, you can rest to get rid of it. Resting now has a chance to cure the Night Owl and Skin Outbreak conditions. I'm pretty sure the Skin Outbreaks was already in the game, because I've cleared Skin Outbreak from resting, but now you can clear Night Owl from resting, which goes back to increase the probability to recover more energy while resting. So it kind of goes hand in hand. Training with a reporter, right? That's Otanashi. Training with a reporter now has a chance to clear the Sacker condition. I think this used to work with the director, but now it works with a reporter. Certain career events now cure bad conditions. Just check if your career event does it or not. Adjusted race systems, which is spot duel, dueling, Unji, or runaway, which is the frontrunner blocker skill, or the runaway frontrunner skill, which Silent Suzuka has. I don't think anybody else in the game besides Silent Suzuka right now has that event, but she might be used in the next CM now that's there. I don't know if you're going to be able to get enough stamina to run a 1600. It's a little hard to do the meta on that when I've never expected for that to work. And then increases runners' last burst based on their guts parameter. So guts now does something. We will go over the numbers of this once I finish reading all of the adjusted race systems. Adjusted systems involving hills on courses. So if you remember from CM1, there was a hill at the very start that just wasn't in the game. This is just like updating all the hills. Adjusted racers positions at the final corner, allowing them to line up more easy. So this one is, if you guys were here when I did an overview on Agnes Digital, and I said the lane movement helps you prior to the final corner because it allows you to change lanes and then use the spurt increase. Before the final corner, as the Umas are rounding around the corner, they will spread out in a line rather than all lining up on the first. You know how there's a conga line usually? If you watched CM3 races, there's like a conga line of front runners. Now they will spread out. So it makes it a little, it lessens the impact of getting blocked, essentially. And this always happens before the final corner. Skills that improve navigation also now improve passing ability during the duration. So now, if you guys ever saw the Hopscotch Seiyun thing, where they ran position sense and dodging danger, the thing also from yesterday's review on Agnes Digital, you get at 1200 power, you get a 0.5 target speed increase when you are changing lanes under the effect of a lane change ability. So this drastically changes how the frontrunner meta works, because now you also want to do that hopscotch where you stack dodging danger, position sense. Araharu Wit also uses this, so frontrunners, you might want to get that white spark for Araharu Wit if you're planning on running them, because if somebody hopscotches in front of you, it doesn't matter if you proc groundworks because they are 2 lengths in front of you already. Recovering Endurance late race now enables runners to exert full strength based on the endurance recovered. So all those bad late race recovery skills that people have been saying are useless now actually do something because they recalculate how much energy they have every time they recover endurance or stamina. And then adjusted parameters acquired from some training events. That just means you should be able to see a couple more stats from all the characters here. I'm not going to go through it one by one. So we're going to go over, from the top, the race system changes. So first off, we have Spot Struggle, which I believe affects front runners. So this is all inferred. This one was unable to be reverse engineered, but everyone agrees with this race document for how race mechanics work. So when there's 2 or more front runners or a runaway, the spot struggle will trigger between the 150 meter mark to the start of the 6th section. So let's look, we're going to use CM5 as our example here. 150 meters was going to be a little bit after halfway of the opening leg to the start of the 6th section, which is 400 meters. So for about 250 meters. Frontrunners will compete with each other through this game mechanic based on their guts stats. So you will get increased target speed movement as a frontrunner. This only affects frontrunners. The higher your gut stats is. And then during this fight, your HP consumption will be multiplied by the following number. So if you get rushed during this, you're going to need a lot more stamina. But because you will want to train guts for this, you will also have more HP for the late race with the gut stats. So this might invalidate that 600, 700 stamina that people were touting around, especially since now you kind of want guts. So this is only for front runners. This is only when there are 2 or more front runners that they will struggle for first based on their gut stats. So guts builds are a thing now. You will want that for this spot struggle. Another system is dueling. So dueling is going to be on the final straight. So, always going to be in the late race. The final straight's basically almost always in the late race. Except for like some sprints, but maybe I shouldn't say always. So if there's a lot of Umas close together, it's 3 meters, which is about 1 length. It's a little bit over 1 length. And the lane, and you are within 1 or 2 lanes. If you are very close to each other, if the competition happens for longer than 2 seconds, and you are in the top 50%, which is 4th to 1st, and the speed gap is, okay, the speed is a little bit low. It's basically if there's 2 people, fighting each other and are 4th or higher, then you get speed and acceleration based on your guts. Competition cannot occur if you have less than 15% HP, and will end if you're about to die. So both these systems, the early race for front runners depends on your gut stats, and the final straight will depend on your gut stats for how much target speed and acceleration you gain. So these two are the race mechanics added into the game. Guts is no longer a useless skill. Is to say the full Guts rework? Yes, these are both the first anniversary Guts rework. So when everyone was saying, oh, wait until the 3rd scenario for Guts meta, this is Guts meta. We are now in Guts meta. So even Aoharu decks may have to change. This increased runner's last spurt speed based on their Guts parameter. If you go into the race mechanics and you go into last spurt, there's a multiplier based on your gut stats here for your last spurt top speed. So, these 3 systems, your top speed is affected by Guts, front runners at the start of the race with spot struggle is affected by Guts, and dueling, which is if you're fighting on the last straight with another Uma, is also dependent on Guts. So, Guts is no longer a useless skill. Tazuna is not wrong when she says you need to raise your Gut stats. I believe that's everything then. Well, actually, let's use the reference doc, and I'm going to show you, once again, what it means when it says skills that improve navigation now improve passing ability during their duration. So this is danger avoidance, position sense, and Aoharu wit. So these are the 4 white skills that you want, because doing early race position skill moves lets you jump forward like that, because you get that 0.5 target speed increase. So, you still probably want groundworks in order to accelerate to that 0.5, but this is another thing on the checklist of what makes a good front runner. So rather than this stopping groundworks from being not mandatory anymore, it's if you face a front runner that has this in groundworks, it's a lot worse. Yes, dodging danger, danger avoidance, position sense, I don't know what it's called in global, and Aoharu, the new scenario, wit spark. But this is going to be pretty important for front runners. Can't really do a deep dive on CM5 because I just am not ready to talk about CM5 with the 1st anniversary changes. I'm sure some other creators will have to do essentially what I'm doing, right? The emergency rundown. But that should be everything. The main thing is negative conditions during during training is a lot lowered, and Guts matters. Once again, increased parameters from these people's events, they just get more stats. Added new choices for some trainer events for these people, and then added new trainee events for these people. Adjusted stats that can be acquired from support card events for these supporter cards. But I think the main thing we want to go over is the effects and conditions for some skills. Hopefully Game Tora hasn't updated yet, but we're going to go through this one by one. So competitive spirit right now, you need 5 or more runners You need 5 runners using the same strategy, which is pretty much impossible to activate because you're asking for more than half. So this is 6 or higher. Now it gets changed to 40%, higher than 40%. Iron Will is a good idea to take it. It's still a cope, green to activate, but it's a lot easier to activate now. I guess we could do it like this. Man, I was planning on doing some parent runs. Okay. So we have Iron Will, which you need to be blocked from in the front in the early race. Now it's anytime during the opening or middle race. If you are blocked from the front, you'll get increased lane movement speed, which also unblocks you, and you get the stamina recovery. So it's still not the greatest skill, but it's a lot more usable. Because it now has the lane movement skill, so you can actually unblock with the... once you get blocked, you get the recovery, and then you should be able to get unblocked, especially since this is any time during the the opening leg or the middle leg. Lay low is the white version. Oh, what am I doing? No stopping me is now a acceleration skill that you should be thinking about picking up. No stopping me right now, you need to be blocked from the front, but when it is updated, it's when they're in front of you rather than you are fully blocked. So right in front is a whole length, right? It's a length or less, and the no more than one lane to either side. So it's like a cone. It's a cone rather than the lane right in front of you. So you could just potentially not even be blocked, right? Because it could be the lane to the left or to the right of you. This also gives you increased lane movement speed, and with the increased lane movement speed, you get the target speed increase. So this skill actually does something now. Blocked front continue one time is just a very rough skill to be under, right? Because you have to be blocked by somebody directly in front of you. Whereas in front near lane timed is just within a length, within a cone. Nimble Nav is the white version of it. How do I spell this? This is the skill that Hishi Amazon has, which I called her the worst end closer because of this skill. But now Storm and Stress does more. So Storm... I don't know how to pronounce this. This used to be a random time during the late race, and you had to be greater than or equal to 75. Right? So you had to be within the bottom 25% of the distance. You had to be between 100%, which is 9th place, and 75%, which is the distance between last place and first place. Now there's a precondition where you are the bottom 50%, so you're an end closer, you should be. Then at a random time during the late race, and you are in your last spurt, so you calculated that you have enough HP to run the rest of the late race, you'll get your target speed increase. A lot better place to proc this skill. So maybe Hishi Amazon is no longer the worst end closer like I said she was, because you can kind of use this green skill, this gold skill. Masterful Gambit is the white version of it, just less speed. Mile Maven is going to be kind of scary for CM5. Mile Maven used to be only the first place Uma at a random time in the early race after 5 seconds have passed. So this is usually after the groundworks have procced. Summer Marzensky, if she was in first place, she could extend her lead with this gold skill. Same thing with Taiki. Taiki Shuttle could never use this because Taiki Shuttle was almost never first place in the early race because she's a pace chaser. Now it's if you are 5th place or higher in the later half of the early race, which should be, after everyone's accelerated to their top speed. If you are 5th place or higher, you get the target speed increase. So this is realistically only a buff right now to Summer Marzensky, because the first Summer Marzensky, the second Summer Marzensky, and the third Summer Marzensky can all proc Mile Maven. But Taiki Shuttle can also use this because pace chasers usually are 5th place or higher. But I do think, Summer Marzensky is going to be a little bit stronger in the Mile CM, because Summer Marzensky should be 5th place or higher. So even if she lost the lead to another front runner, she has a gold skill early race to try to take it back. Oh, my face is blocking it. Yeah, let me move my camera. But Taiki Shuttle does have a chance. Taiki Shuttle can be kind of used for miles now. We'll get to her ultimate later as we slowly go through here. Productive Plan is the white version of this. Track Blazer is a recovery skill for medium tracks. Track Blazer comes out on the Silent Suzuka speed card for the 5th chapter in around January to February, so it's not going to be out yet, but this is just a random time. Right now, how it works is a random time in the mid-race. If you are first place, you can activate this. It turns into top 3, so allows more front runners to run or to proc this even if they aren't in first place. Rosy Outlook is the white version. Adrenaline Rush is the skill that everyone said is completely useless, but now that they recalculate, now that late race skills can actually be used as HP, it's going to do something. Right now for long tracks, this is on the Rice Shower card. You have to empty your HP to exactly 0 to restore it, and prior to this balance change, the restored HP wouldn't be used. Now it got updated where if you are dropped below 30% HP, you'll get a speed increase and your stamina and the stamina recovery. So not only do you recalculate using this HP, but it activates at the 30% mark. This is going to be kind of scary on Christmas Ogre, because Christmas Ogre comes out for the Arima Kinen, but this skill wasn't reworked for the Arima Kinen. Now people like sweats like me, can try to calculate how much stamina they need to drop to 30% to activate Extra Tank to proc her skill at the exact moment that she wants. So this is a little scary for the Christmas Ogre for the 1 CM after she releases. But other than that, it's just a recovery skill for long that you can actually use because it gives you a speed increase and the stamina recovery. This one just changes where... Okay, it just changes. You still have to be first place, but the duration increases, and rather than being 5 lengths ahead, it's only 3 lengths ahead. So not as crazy. Not that big of a thing. Bakshin, I think, will have a struggle to generate this lead difference during the mid-race. We have Adored by All, which is the gold skill from Curran. Just changes to 5th place or higher. Allows her to use it essentially as a pace chaser rather than a front runner. This just slows down other pace chasers potentially and the late surgers and end closers on sprints. Usually end closers are the ones that you're trying to target on a sprint because they're the scariest. We have Speed Eater. There is no gold version of Speed Eater. This is the Mile skill. This is the Mile skill that reduces target speed and then increases your own target speed. Now it's top 3 or higher rather than being first place. Once again, goes back into the Summer Marzensky is going to be a little bit stronger on miles because they have Mile, Maven, and Speed Eater, and they don't have to be first place essentially to target all of these. Yeah, they heard you guys all talking, saying, oh, S-Maro was a bait by content creators. So now we get the fun frontrunners earlier. But I do think Summer Marzensky, just with her innate kit, is going to be a lot scarier. Battle Formation, I don't know why they're changing, because we don't have Gold City Festival yet. Actually, I don't even know when she comes out pretty soon, right? Gold City. Yeah, she comes out with Rudolph, so... I mean, I guess it comes out during Autoharo. It's in like 5 banners. Skill's not that good still. It just decreases acceleration in the early race after 3 seconds rather than 5. Or sorry, it's the people in front of you if you are 6th place or lower. So it can kind of hit front runners who like don't proc groundworks essentially, but because it's a phase random, it has to activate exactly at the 3-second mark for it to really affect front runners who are realistically the only people that you care about decreasing acceleration for. So I think Battle Formation is still a pretty useless skill, but it does get updated. We have Vanguard Spirit, which is the skill that Metro McQueen has and Saiyan Sky. This is for long tracks. Rather than having to be 3 lengths in front, it is now 1 length in front, so a lot easier conditions to trigger, but you still have to be first place, which is a little hard for McQueen and Saiyan Sky to be in, but maybe, for long tracks you want that innate angling and scheming on Saiyan Sky. Keeping the lead is the white version. We have Sixth Sense and Dodging Danger. You almost never grab the gold skill version. You always grab the white skill version when you're trying to do the wacky, like, front runner double lane movement change. But the reason why Dodge Danger is, Dodging Danger and position sense is so touted is because of the second effect here, where you change lanes. right? So usually, instead of being blocked by all, in order to, because it's avoid being surrounded right now, it is blocked from the front, which, or sorry, blocked by the front or blocked by the side, which when everyone's running out of the gate side by side, you should be, theoretically being blocked by the side. But yeah, this is one of the three skills that you might want on a front runner to abuse the lane change mechanic. Next up, we have Leader's Pride. This just increases your target speed when you get passed in the early race. This is only useful for front runners. So right now, it's anytime after the 5-second mark, you got passed, you proc this. Now it can happen during the mid-race. So it's not just early race, it can happen in the mid-race. Also, if you're blocked by the side, so you don't actually have to be passed, if there's somebody running next to you for 2 or more seconds, you can proc this skill to, it's like a mini Bakshin skill. Alright, next up we have Second Wind, which used to give, or currently gives, acceleration when positioned toward the back during the mid-race. You do not want this as a front runner, because if you are 6th place or lower, as a front runner, you already lost the game. Now, it's a stamina drain. During the final leg, you use your stamina to increase acceleration. This is a gambling skill for front runners, because this can happen anytime during the late race. You could increase your acceleration after you've already are at your top speed and still tank a 2% stamina drain. So this is a gambling skill. Usually people don't grab this, but maybe you want to gamble as a front runner now. Not a good skill. Very gambly as a front runner when you already have angling, you already have other accelerations, and you're trying to generate a lead rather than gambling on acceleration at the final leg. Restart is a debuff skill. Another bad skill right now. This is if you're 6th place or lower. You can decrease acceleration as a front runner of the people in front of you. Doesn't really matter. Most of the time, they're already at their top speed anyways after 5 seconds, so didn't really do anything. Still kind of doesn't really do anything, but at least now it's 2nd place or lower, so very easy to trigger. You can still go for it, but unless there's like a hill after 5 seconds, or there's, it's basically only if there's a hill in the early race after 5 seconds, will restart have any value, but you only hit the people in front of you. So like, you grab the skill, but if you're already losing, like, what's the point? I don't think it's that good. Shatterproof, the skill that I called useless on Narita Bryan, because this used to be mid-race excel for pace chasers. If you are 6th place or lower, literally did nothing. Is now mid-race excel if you're 5th place or lower for pace chasers. Still does nothing. Do not grab the skill. The buff literally doesn't change anything. All it did was allow you to be in 4th place for mid-race acceleration, random mid-race acceleration. Almost has no use. Unless you have like 500 mid-race target speed-ups where you still need to accelerate to that, this does nothing. Tactician Tweak is the white version of Shatterproof. Uma Stand is actually going to do something. Uma Stand right now needs you to have exactly 4 people or more near you. It gets changed to 3 people. And also it cannot trigger. So usually this triggered at the very start of the race if it did even trigger and you're still accelerating to your top speed. Now it's 3rd place or 3 people near you or more and activates 5 seconds after. So this white skill actually does something now. It is only, especially when like you start getting bundled up, the skill actually does something. Because it can't trigger at the early race, which usually this is where it would trigger even if it did. So Uma Stand, you can tell by like how many times they print this. It's a very staple white spark. Like you can see, they do almost always give out this skill. This is a skill that you will want. This is just a mid-race skill, or I mean it could proc in the opening race, but this is essentially just a mid-race skill when you're nearby people. So very good skill with this rework. Right now it does nothing. Right now you do not want to grab it. Super Stand is the gold version that Digital has. Shooting Star is... Oh, we're on to uniques now. Oh, I want to be in the mines tonight. Okay, so Shooting Star used to not let you be in 1st place because you had to be passing another runner So you had to be second to fifth and passing somebody. Now, special week, if you overtake somebody in the second, if you overtake somebody in between first and fifth, you get the target speed increase, and she gets acceleration. So if you like, procced shooting for, well, I guess shooting for victory might not work anymore. That's weird. If you proc like redshift or anything like that, and you pass somebody, you can get even more acceleration with that current speed. Yeah, it is also a current speed up, so rather than having to use the acceleration to like go to that new top speed, you jump up 3.5. So like it doesn't make sense like in real life, because how can you hit a new top speed without ever accelerating to it? But it just like adds that speed to you. Like you don't have to accelerate to this new speed. So this actually makes her a lot more viable, since a lot of the times when you were passing somebody, you were still accelerating to your new speed. Now it gives you instantaneous speed and still gives you acceleration. So special week's a lot stronger. Inherited, it's not that great, but it's still a current speed increase. If you have no better like legacies, you can always include that. Lights of Vonderville, right now only works in the final corner, and someone is behind you, and you are top 3. Now it has a precondition where in the late race, anytime during the late race that you are 4th place or higher and someone was behind you, in the last 300 meters, you can get the target speed increase. So this allows front runners to essentially use this skill, because you can activate this during the time you are proccing, angling, and scheming, and then you can fulfill the preconditions during the angling scheming portion, and then use the last 300 for a speed boost. Obviously, you could do this on Pace Chasers, because it is now 4th place rather than 3rd. So Pace Chasers can also benefit from this, but usually when you see Kiseki's ultimate, it gets recommended for front runners. Though we'll just go over Anime Teo. Certain victory. That would make sense, because it's actually, I have no idea. We'll go over a certain victory, because I think it definitely got reworked. Yeah, Kiseki's ultimate now actually helps. If it is Anime Tejo's, we'll just do it over here. She gets a she now gets the good target speed increase. So, well, when I say good, I mean like, Kiseki's, Simbali Rudolph, Ogre Cap. She gets that 0.45. Or I guess Keegan Kalo also has the 0.45. So she gets that increased target speed now. And then the main thing is, I think it can happen anytime from the final corner or beyond, right? That's what changes? Yeah, so it's anytime during the final corner or beyond, rather than just the final straight. So this used to only work in the final straight, so you had to overtake someone at the finale. But now, if you overtake someone during the final corner, which is usually when you're accelerating, right? Then at the last straight, you get the target speed increase. So this precondition just makes it a lot easier, because if you hit acceleration in the final corner, say on a medium track, you can guarantee that speed increase. Makes her a lot more viable, especially with the increased effect. Also now a good inherit, because it's as strong as Ogre Cap, Simpali Rudolph, etc., etc. We have Resplendent Red Ace and Red Ace, which is the 2-star, and the... Oh wow, actually, this update's going to be really good for Die with Scarlet, because Die with Scarlet used to have to be 1st place and had a difference of 1 behind. But now you can be 2nd place, and you can now be in 2nd place and be trying to overtake first to activate it. Doesn't Daiwa already have a decent skill? I mean, it's still like a front runner skill. Like, she still can't really be played as a pace chaser. But now you can try to overtake to 1st place and activate this skill. With the problem with Summer Marzinski has the mid-race skill, and if Summer Marzinski can trigger it before Red Ace. But now, as long as you are attempting to overtake, which means you have more top speed than the person in front of you, you can trigger this at 2nd place. I mean, she's still not meta, but, at least you won't be gimped by a front runner denying you that. Where there's a will, there's a way is Grass Wonder. Where there's a will, there is a way. So this is now in the... So right now on the global server, when you're passing another person towards the back on the final straight, you get the target speed increase from 4th place or lower. I'm pretty sure it's the same thing, right? Yeah, except now it's 3rd place or lower. It's not that big of a buff. It just allows her to be, 1 place higher. It's not that big of a buff for her, though. He, Amazon, you and me, one-on-one. So he, Amazon right now, you have to be passing someone on the final straight. Now it's, if you're during the final corner and you pass somebody, then on the final straight, increase it. Basically Tokai Anime Teo, except not as much target speed. She's still bad. Me rating her as the worst end closer still holds true, even with these updates. But she's more usable now. I still think she's the worst end closer, even with these updates. We have Bird McQueen's updated skill, which removes a lot of conditions from her. Used to be has to be on the final corner. You used to have to have more than 35% HP, or sorry, less than 35 HP. Had to be 3rd place or higher. I don't even know why they had this one here. And then you also had to be overtaking somebody and somebody had to be behind you. They simplify all of that to just, if you are top 4 and someone's about to overtake you during the final corner and beyond, at the late race, you will get increased speed. The space duration also went up. Just ignore all these conditions. It's kind of annoying to try to memorize it. Just know that eventually it just gets updated to if there's someone behind you with more speed than you during the final corner or beyond, you get more speed. This stands for Victoria is Opera O's. This is going to be another skill. I'm not going to really read the current version because there's a lot of conditions to fulfill. You almost never activated it. Now it's during the final corner. If there's another person behind you or in front of you and you're 4th place or higher, then you get the target speed increase. You used to need to be sandwiched between the person in front of you and behind you, and somebody had to be blocking you from the side. Now it's just if there's somebody in front of you or if there's somebody behind you, go faster. A lot stronger, or a lot easier to fulfill the condition. But yeah, it used to be you had to be surrounded by 3 Umas. Now you just need 1 Uma, front or back. Blazing Pride is Air Groove Original. So Blazing Pride used to be during the final corner when you were passing somebody towards the back, which is 4th place or lower, you get the target speed increase. Now it's just 3rd place or lower. Not that big of an improvement. They don't really give love to the original Air Groove. It just allows you 1 more placement. All right, QED is Hayahide's. I think this has double trigger conditions now. Originally, you had to be 4th place or higher, passing somebody on the final corner. Now, it's if you're in the front during the final corner or beyond, so it can now work on the final straight, you will increase your speed. If you didn't rush, you'll get the stronger target speed increase. So the main thing here is that it can work on the final leg. Now it's no longer the final corner. Okay, Flashing Landing is the 3-star version. So this gives you target speed and acceleration during the final corner when you are blocked to the side for 2 seconds for 3 or first. Now it's the final corner and beyond. Same thing, you still have to be blocked from the side and top 3 or first. So even with the No Stopping Me upgrade, you are still gambling. But because it can happen in the final straight, at least you can use the target speed increase in the final straight. But you are still trying to do No Stopping Me into Flashy Landing. At least No Stopping Me, actually gets you unblocked. So you're trying to combo those two together to, rock it off. Blue Rose Closer is Rice Shower. So this had to be on the final straight. You had to be passing somebody from 4th place or higher. Now, it's a precondition, so if you pass somebody during the late race, then on the last straight, you get the target speed increase. Not that great, there's better ults, but at least it makes using Rice Shower a little bit better. Our ticket to win is Winning Ticket. Our ticket to the win, if you were blocked from the side for 2 seconds on the final straight, you got the increased velocity. Now, if you are blocked during the final corner, which is when everyone spreads out, on the last straight, if you were... So unfortunately, not that strong. This is the 1-star, 2-star version. Look at Curran! Actually, this is going to be scary. Pace Curran is going to be a bigger thing for the next one. This buff is pretty strong. So Curran used to have to be 4th place, right? Because you had to be 4th place and then overtake somebody. So the window to activate her ultimate was really small. Now Curran can be 5th, 4th, or third, which, widening your activation window by 3 times is kind of insane. So Pace Current is going to be very strong. This is you're trying to overtake people right before the late race, so you can use this acceleration. Pace Current, like Duty of Dignity calls, stacking all the final corner movement speed increases on a mile track allows you to overtake a lot of people. And because it's a 3 position window that you can overtake, it's going to be pretty good to hit this acceleration. Did he didn't call Seed Star Brian Ult? Yeah. Pace Current is not a meme anymore. I used to meme on Pace Current because I thought it was really hard to get the skills for it. Especially since if you are very contingent on that window, like you have to be passing 4th and 3rd. But when the window is this big, it's not that much of a joke. It's a lot more consistent to the point where I can't really like meme on it. So I think Pace Current's going to be very strong next CM as well. It's always fun having a wider breadth of meta Umas rather than being like Esmaru versus all the late surgers. Smart Falcon gets an upgrade. Smart Falcon can now activate it in 2nd place rather than just 1st place. So you can use the ultimate to fight for 1st rather than trying to maintain 1st place. First place. So the 2 front runners that you're going to see next CM5 is probably still going to be Smart Falcon, Summer Marzensky. They just get more tools in their toolbox now. Nemesis gets upgraded. Maybe I can stop calling Taishin potential Uma. Nemesis just gets 1 more activation, so you can be 1 farther forward. This also now works on the final corner or beyond, so it is no longer stuck to the final corner. It can work on the final corner and the last straight. 1 more activation window, or 1 more position activation window to the front, and it can work on the final straight rather than being stuck to the final corner. Still can activate the final corner, so you could still Nemesis on a mile track to push forward, but unlike long tracks, there's a chance that you can use your end closer top speed to activate this in the final straight and still be able to use it. Call me King! That is, no. Prideful King is the 3-star version. So Prideful King right now, while it does give you the 0.45 target speed increase, that's the best thing, requires you to be 5th place at the 200 meter mark. So Ogre Cap is 2nd to 5th at the 200 meter mark. Currently, King Halo needed to be exactly 5th place at the 200 meter mark and had to not rushed. The upgrade changes it from 6th to 4th. So not as good as Triumphant Pulse still, but does make it slightly better. Like, the last 200 meters, I don't know how much this target speed increase helps you with, but at least the window is bigger. Last skill to go over is Shooting for Victory. So this one I'm going to use the Uma later to demonstrate, but Shooting for Victory now activates at the later half of the final corner. So still the same activation conditions. It's actually even worse because you have to be 4th to 3rd place now, but it's the later half of the final corner, and it's a 5-second base duration for increased acceleration. So this one I need to use the Emulator for because it's a little bit harder to see. So right now, this is CM5. It would activate as soon as the final corner started, so even like a Taiki shuttle wouldn't be able to use it. So now it activates at the 50% mark if you were 4th place to 3rd place. So you can see here, Taiki shuttle, if she was 3rd or 4th place, she can actually function as a pace chaser because she can use the later half of the acceleration increase. Now, obviously, the ideal thing is to enter 4th place closer to the final leg, but even if you activated it exactly as soon as possible, because it has that 5-second base duration, that gets elevated to 8 seconds on a 1600 meter, you can still use the acceleration. So ideally, you would want to try to trigger this later. It's really hard to try to go from 5th place to 4th place because you can't really guarantee that. But Taiki Shuttle is actually a mile runner. This also kills any future CMs that you would want both shooting for victory and redshift. But redshift would activate here. Hopefully, if like you look at a medium track, you know, obviously, like for example, CM4, if you activated shooting for victory here, it wouldn't have really done anything. So it decouples redshift and shooting. They are no longer like bundled together. Shooting for victory realistically only works for miles, and only on pace chasers. That's just the activation conditions for skills. Now we gotta move over to more skills. All of these just mean that, because right now, like Professor of Curvature, corners, all the corner stuff kind of activate on the first corner or the third corner of a track that is coded. It's kind of hard to say, but they always activate near the same position. They almost always activate it at the exact same spot every single race. Like, for example, if you did CM4 matches, you would see that Professor Curvature almost always activated at the first corner, the first turn. So now they can kind of activate at different spots. Ramp Revolution, Determined Descent, Straight Descent, all these are hill stuff. Those also got changed. Calm in a Unruffled, I don't know why it's here, but Unruffled is Dodo's recovery skill. Wait, that's not Dodo's recovery skill. It's Tonhouse's recovery skill. Okay, this one, not much has changed. It's still not the greatest. It is surrounded rather than blocked all continued time. Not that reliable still, but you don't have to be blocked anymore. It's just if there is 1.5 around you. So it's not like reliable, but it's no longer almost impossible to trigger. But these don't really get affected that much, so not much to talk about on there. Okay, we have Taking the Lead, which you can use as an alternative to Groundworks, because now it activates at the start of the race. So if somebody triggers this and Groundworks, they still get about half a length on you. So you could try to get both, but you know, it's one or the other. It's an alternative to Groundworks. This just gives you acceleration out the gate. Theoretically, you want both of them. Yeah, you would want this, and well, you probably don't want this as your third trigger condition for Groundworks, because you know, if you fail one of the wit checks, theoretically you want either Taking the Lead or Groundworks to proc. So it's hard to say that it's an alternative. They both just do the same thing, but you kind of want both of them. It's like similar to like, you know, if you survive off of 1 gold, you kind of want 2 golds just so you don't fail the wit check on one of them. So you can rely on just this for your frontrunners. Do you need to grab Taking the Lead, or is early lead good enough? You kind of want Taking the Lead because Groundworks is a 3-second duration, 0.2 for 3 seconds. So if you multiply this, it's 0.6, whereas the white version here is 2.4 or 0.24. So Groundworks would just be better. It's only somewhat equal when you have the gold version. Right now, there isn't a good source of it, but eventually the Halloween, which is after CM5, I believe, the Halloween Mihono Bourbon Wit card will give you Taking the Lead. But you can't really use the white version, you would want the gold version. But this is the, at the end of the month, we have the Wit card here that gives you the gold version. Yeah, but you should really want to get this for front runners at the end of this month. You want to get all 5 pieces, because it's a wit card that you can run in your deck, which should fit in every distance, and gives you the Fortune Favors the Fast. I sometimes refer to this as Fortune Favors the Fast, because I always forget this skill, because it's only on Twin Turbo. We have Calm and Collected. That's the wrong one. It's called Calm and Composed. This is for Pace Chasers. We have a lot of characters with it already. This used to only work in the early race, or anytime in the early race after 5 seconds. Now it's in the later half, which I think you can still miss like the full recovery, but on longer tracks, you know, after 50%, which is like 200 meters, generally you should be able to restore more so than if it was after 5 seconds. Like 5 seconds is over here, the 50% mark of an opening leg is over here, so just lets you restore a little bit more. I still don't think it's, you know, the best recovery skill. It's going to be more than if it procced instantly at the 5-second mark. We have Plan X, which is the sprint skill from Pegasus, I believe, because I always see the skill when I borrow it. This is just the later half of the late race. You get acceleration, not that great. You're trying to gamble that this procs at the end of the mid race, so you can use it for the late race. This just halves the gamble for it, and only works for pace chasers because you can't be first place. Or I guess you could be the second place front runner. Sprints are really weird to plan around. Not that great of a skill. It's a gamble skill that countermeasures the white version. Keen Eye is an interesting one, which is only on Gold City. This one decreases current speed from the people in front of you. It's a recovery skill, so obviously you don't really need a recovery skill. But I guess now that the late race depends on your guts and you being more than 15% HP, recovery skill isn't completely useless on a mile because of the new dueling mechanic. No, it's not. Is it dueling or showdown? The sport card does kind of suck, but Gold City herself will have this. And Gold City also gets an insane amount of SP after the Tenno Show Spring, I believe. So this is more so a buff to Gold City herself for like a guts build. Gold City gets a disgusting amount of buffs. Gold City always gets buffs. But this is the first buff where you can decrease the people in front of you if you are 6th place or lower. And this happens anytime during the opening leg, so mostly you're using this to hit the front runners. And, with the SP that you gain after the Tenno Show Spring, it's kind of awkward in Araharu. Usually in Mant, that's where, like, Gold City kind of shines because you can do so many more races to get the SP. I think Araharu, she's not going to be that strong. I don't think she's going to be strong for, like, CM5, but she will just consistently stack buffs. And this is the first buff with Keen Eye. We have the view from the lead is mine, which is Suzuka's skill. So Suzuka gets a difference where if you are in first position during the second half of the race, your speed will increase. So now she gets a mid-race skill rather than it being on the final straight. Another thing to talk about is that Great Escape that Suzuka has. She has Great Escape, which right now is the only character with it because we do not have Palmer, Helios, yada yada yada. I think her secret event is to get a win streak of 6 races, win the Tenno Show Autumn. Is Great Escape in with this? It should be. They said they added the Runaway Aptitude skill, which Runaway should be Great Escape because there's no other aptitude skill in the game. I mean, you just have to win your 1, 2, 3, 4. You just have to beat your career goals, right? You just have to beat all your career goals and you place first. It's not that bad. But yeah, very interesting, that this is in the game. Just the timing. Okay, shooting for victory. Oh, there it is. Eternal Moment. Okay. I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure they updated, Oh, that means all the new characters are probably gonna release with their upgraded skills. Or updated skills. Oh, that's interesting. Alright, so we finally have Wedding Airgrave. I was looking for this skill. Right now, how this phase random works is that it grabs a random 10 meters in the middle race, and in those 10 meters, you have to be overtaking somebody between 5th and 3rd place. So Wedding Air Groove essentially didn't have a unique because it is very unlikely that you overtake exactly at that 10-meter mark where it randomly picked. Now it's just anytime during the mid-race when you overtake somebody. Which should happen. This is a lot better for... This makes her more viable as a pace chaser in miles because she also has Big Sisterly? Is that the English version? Which also gives you mid-race skill. So pace chasers in miles attempt to get as much carryover as possible. So you quote unquote have acceleration with carryover. She's not really meta as a pace chaser, but it allows her and Kiseki generally to be pace chasers in miles. I still don't really think pace chasers are going to be that dominant in miles. But you have more options as a pace chaser if you don't care about playing meta. Increase the effects for the valuing skills. So center stage, prudent positioning, those are the lane movement skills. They just, let you change lanes. Oh, here's certain victory. So, no. What does invincible mean? Whatever. Superior heal is Grass Wonder's heal. It's now actually a 7.5 and a 3.5 on Inherit rather than the 5.5 right now. I think I did a review on Grass Wonder and I said that it was 7.5 because I didn't realize that it was increased here. Pure Heart, Clear Heart, that is... oh shit, Super Creek. I didn't know Super Creek had a 7.5. I never run Creek. Next, we have the extend the effect duration of the following skills. Professor Curvature, I think, goes from 1.8 to 2.4. So maybe not as troll to grab now. Used to be 1.8, now goes to 2.4. Beeline Burst, I think is a 0.9 right now or something like that. Yeah, it's a 0.9. Goes up to 3 seconds. So not as stupid to grab. Still a random point on a straight, but it's 3 times longer. It's a 33% buff. Okay, yeah, you got me there. Rushing Gale still sucks. This is the random acceleration on a random straight. I misspelled Gale. Rushing Gale is 1.8, 0.4. It's still a random straight, but now it's 3 seconds. Also gives you target speed increase, so not entirely useless, 3 seconds, 1.5. Very expensive, but if you want to gamble on the straight, like on, I don't know, you have to find it on like a mile, sure. I'm never going to be recommending it. We have Homestretch Haste or In Body and Mind. We should probably pick up Homestretch Haste because I'm always talking about Homestretch Haste and not that In Body and Mind. But it is a 33% buff from 1.8 to 1.15, and then it also only happens in the first half of the late race, so you will get the full effect. You won't have like the Homestretch Haste in the last 10 meters. Speed Star, which is Fine Motion skill. I think Dodo also has it. This one gets increased from 1.2 to 1.8. Still the same conditions, but, helps in the carryover if you want to use it in CM5 as a pace chaser. Especially since Fine Motion is going to be a really good card to run in CM5. I can see a Curran with Speed Star, spamming carryover or target speed increases to get that carryover. Sorry, I'm talking a lot about Curran. I just think she's going to be kind of scary if she's built correctly with all of these changes. I think all of these changes mostly affect her. At least for CM5. We have Fast and Furious, which is the late surger skill that Summer Special Week has right now. Once again, another 33% increase. We have Killer Tunes, which is the up-tempo. Killer Tunes / up-tempo. It's going to be... actually, I think it's more than 33%, if I remember correctly. Right? Yeah, 0.9 to 2.4. So this is a over 2x increase, right? 2.5 increase? Like, Killer Tunes was a dog skill. Or sorry, up-tempo too. Up-tempo was also just really bad because it was 0.9. Up-tempo is now 2.4. So really helps with pace. Once again, another help for pace. Daiwa eating good. The lane movement skill increase, random time during the early race. Or sorry, mid-race. Not that great, but can be used. Changing gears, I think still sucks. Increased passing ability if you're 5th place or higher. Doubles the duration, so a lot better. Another Taiki buff, since you're trying to hit that speed carryover. Step on the gas. This is Marzenski's skill. This gives you acceleration. Used to give acceleration during the mid-race when you're passing somebody. Now gives you acceleration during the second half of the race, so 50% or higher. So, it can happen anywhere, so it's just like Dodo Rocket, Daiwa Rocket, except you have to try to hit it at the end. This doesn't really get printed anywhere else because the skill sucks. It's really hard to time this because it's any time you pass somebody at the 50% rate. Though if you can somehow not pass anyone until the late race and you pass someone at the start of the late race, then you can use this. Very inconsistent. The skill's not really recommended. All right, we have Big Sisterly, which is another skill for pace chasers for target speed increase. It's a 33% buff. This is what I mean when I say like, Kiseki and Air Groove can kind of work as pace chasers on miles. I still don't really think they're meta until Nishino Flower, but at least they're not troll. You're not like trolling and throwing away everything by running a pace chaser now. We have Tactician, which is Tokai Teiho's skill. She's the only one that has it. Gives you acceleration as a pace chaser when you're changing lanes. Not good. Doesn't have a cooldown. So as soon as you change lanes, you activate it. So still not good. You can kind of always tell, like, is a skill good if they continue printing it. Maybe you can cook up something. Hard Worker is the late surger skill. I still think it's weird. I don't really like the skill, mainly because I used it on New Year's Haru. But if you overtake somebody, you get an acceleration. It's really hard to like time this, but all it does is increase the base duration by 33%. We have Fighter, which is the white skill, and then we have 15 million CC. Holy. We have 15 million CC, which is going to come out on that Tamamo Cross power card. Gives power, or gives increased target speed when on a random slope. So it used to be on a specific slope on a track, but now it randomly decides a slope, and it's a 33% increase. You would also need acceleration or very high power in order to utilize this. Trending in the charts, top pick, that is Smart Falcon's skill. It's a dirt skill, another increase in duration. Same conditions, you have to be blocked to the side. I don't know if Aquarius Cup, the final corner, is during the middle leg. I think it is, so the skill would work. We have Lightning Step, which is this is Tamamo Cross's skill, or Tamamo Cross. I think the skill is also given to Oguri during her career, Thunderbolt Step. But this now gives duration goes up by a second, and the order rate disappears. But mostly you're using this for that lane movement speed, so when you change lanes, it gives you acceleration as well. So when you change lanes and you get that target speed increase, you can use acceleration to go to your top target speed. Then we have the Wit, Aoharu Wit. Aoharu. I guess it's called Burning Wit, huh? Same thing. This is a lane movement speed thing. You're gonna get more base duration on it. If you change lanes during the early race, you kind of fly forward if you can chain two of them together on a front runner. All right, our last set of skills. Let me see if I remember any of these. Wait and See, I think Wait and See gives acceleration randomly in the mid race. Not that great unless you're stacking target speed increase. Blinding Felash now gives you acceleration, so you can go to that new target speed a little bit faster. King Halo buff for sprints. I believe Gap Closer is the white skill. Hinai, I've already talked about, gives you the decreases the target speed of the people in front of you. What is Unyielding? Unyielding is a medium course that comes from Air Shakur and Hishi Amazon. So this now gives acceleration. Same thing. Actually, they changed the conditions on it. Can happen on the final straight as well. Doesn't have to only happen on the final corner, but you just get increased target speed and acceleration to hit that target speed. We have Stop right there. Debuff. This decreases acceleration randomly after 5 seconds. Still not a good skill. Sixth Sense is the gold version of Dodging Danger. You almost never want to grab the gold version of these skills because you do not care about the increased lane movement, like how fast you're changing lane movements. All you really care about is that base duration. So same thing, Dodging Danger, you want to use it. You want to stack this on your front runners with any of the other ones I was talking about. Shadow Break got changed. What is this called? Oh, it's still called Shadow Break. Shoot, how do I describe this? If somebody was blocking you, if you fulfill this precondition, which is during the mid race, if somebody was blocking you on the side for 2 or more seconds, then you get a increased version of the target speed increase. It still has the same conditions where it has to be the final corner or later, 7th through 2nd, and someone has to be when you're passing somebody on the outside. But if you fulfill this precondition, you get 0.1 more target speed increase. So it's comparable to the other top target speeds. Tachyon just gets a target speed with her target speed increase with her recovery skill. And our last one is Machikane Fukukitaru skill, right? I see victory in my future. Gives you acceleration. You still need to be blocked by the Uma in front of you. But it now gives acceleration. And that is everything from this balance patch. So it looks like On Your Left was not changed in this balance patch.